In this video I'm going to share how I've put the Airmatic suspension pump back in. Some of the things I've learned. This is a continuation of some of the videos I made earlier on how to test the Airmatic suspension, the valve assembly on a W220 Mercedes. So now that this is in place, the bit that I want to cover first is that when I put the Airmatic suspension pump, and I had tested most components in detail outside the vehicle, when I put it back in and the Airmatic suspension started working, the car actually raised itself but wouldn't actually lower. And what was happening was the Airmatic suspension pump kept pumping air into the Airmatic strut, so the car kept rising but it wouldn't release the air even if I actually lowered the car from the inside. So what was happening was while at some point, while I was either when I took the Airmatic suspension pump out or maybe even before that, this valve here, valve assembly, was actually blocked. This valve assembly is actually part of the Airmatic suspension pump. I'm sure I covered this in the video. This is what releases the air out of the system. So when the air needs to be removed from the Airmatic suspension to either lower or to release pressure, this is the valve that opens. And what was happening was this valve wouldn't open, and the result was the car kept rising and up to a reasonably high level, and it was almost like being inside a small 4x4, for example. It was very unusual to see the car that high up. So I knew something was wrong, and what I did was I removed this this pipe here, which is the input pipe coming from the Airmatic suspension pump into the valve assembly. When I did that, I was then able to, when I released the air from the inside the vehicle, the air came out from there, and I could see that it should be working. The reason it's not working is because basically these solenoids were kicking in and the air was being sent out. However, it wouldn't really go out because this valve assembly was stuck. So I took the the pump out, cleaned that valve up, put it back in, and straight away the system started releasing the air as well, and started leveling the car properly. So if you are in a situation where, let's say, your vehicle for some reason has just really risen high up but it wouldn't go down, it's probably because of this valve that's stuck, and it was just basically stuck. And like I've said in the previous video, the reason it was stuck here was because this pipe here had a tear in it, and that pipe, this is the input pipe for the air, it was taking in water, which spoiled basically the Airmatic suspension pump. But anyway, I cleaned that up, put a new piston ring on it, and I've already covered these notes. So this unit was working very nicely. However, that valve was also stuck, probably due to some moisture and stuff. So, but that's been sorted. So the air escapes. The car really works very nicely now on the Airmatic system. It raises and lowers quite nicely, very comfortable now. There is a difference as well in the comfort because you can tell the Airmatic suspensions are working better than before. The other thing I think worth pointing out is that when I put the Airmatic suspension back in, and you can see there's the valve assembly, you have these two connectors on the valve assembly. The one on the left hand side has got very fine pins, and what happened was I almost bent one of the pins, and luckily I caught it in time and I was able to straighten the pin before putting the connector back in. So I guess you have to be a bit careful because they are a bit delicate. And that's about it. And yeah, so the other thing I was pointing out is that these are the bands I was talking about in the previous video that I drew. When I took these pipes off from the valve assembly, I put these bands on to remember where each pipe came off from. And now that the Airmatic suspension pump is in, I will cover notes on what I did to fix the struts. In this vehicle, the issue was with two front struts. So the driver's side, I actually repaired it, and I'll show you how I repaired the Airmatic suspension strut, which is actually this one, the one that is here. This is the original one. It's repaired and it's working beautifully, no issues. The other strut, however, I had to actually replace it because that had the damage at a point where I wasn't really able to repair it. So I'll cover those notes in a minute. I just need to put this car back in. So I need to put the top back on and lower the car, put the tire on, and I'll record the notes from the top. So this is basically the Airmatic suspension pump and the valve assembly back into the car. The car's working. And that's about it. So thank you very much. I hope this video was useful to you. If you have any questions, please leave comments, and please like the video if you feel this has been of any use to you. Thank you very much.